Hello, everyone. One of my YouTube fans, Todd Merrill, has asked a question which is making me think. So as I think, I'll try to talk, and as I talk, I'll try to show you some pens at the same time. So I'm multitasking. His question had to do with my prices. I did post that when I sell pens, when I fix pens, I buy pens on eBay and fix them up and sell them. I charge, if I had to pay someone a minimum wage to repair the pen before I sell it to you, I'd be losing money. Essentially, I try not to. I try to find a good pen that I can sell to you, to an artist or a calligrapher, and I do it as a public service. Todd suggested it's my business sense is geared in the non-profit category. Oh well, what can I do? I could charge more money. I could, but I don't want to do that. So instead, I'm just going to talk to you about other things. Here's the thing. Here's business, and here's hobby. I'll make them both dollar signs, but this looks like an H and that looks like a dollar sign. Okay, that looks sort of like an H, right? Both businesses and hobbies cost money. My brothers love to fish, and they buy fishing poles, and they buy worms, and they buy a boat, and they, by the time they add up all of this cash outlay, they could, and the time they spend, here's a clock representing the time they spend, which they could be doing working at McDonald's or whatever. Let's say they take that same time. Anyway, they could eat out at an expensive fish restaurant every day of the week, probably, for the amount of time for the amount of money they spend fishing, catching fish that they eat. So this is a hobby. Hobbies you're not meant to make money on, I don't think. When you turn a hobby into a business, I once had a pen customer who seemed to think that it was really impossible for me to run a business and to have a hobby at the same time. And that might be true with some people. This quote hobby of mine, by pen collecting and selling pens to other people, I was able to make enough money to pay my rent back in the olden days, but now that there are so many other places to buy pens easily, meaning eBay, anyone can buy any pen they want to on eBay. They can have a pen collection better than mine, better than anyone's almost, if they just, are willing to pay a lot of money for it. I went off track, I'm sorry. Business, I don't know what I'm trying to say. So anyway, my I guess it is hard for me to run my hobby as a business. You do the math. I don't know what I was going to say there. Anyway, among the pens that I excuse me, among the pens that I have in my quote store, which turns into my collection, were a couple of these pens. Now, some of these were in my collection, some of these were in my shop, and I'm my best customer. I look at something and I say, gee, this is kind of neat, or this has a nice nib, I'm going to keep that for a while. But there are some times when I look at a pen and I think, this is a pen only a mother could love, and I might as well be a mother in this case. And this was a case in point, this one right here, and this is not the right cap for it, so maybe someone can tell me what this is supposed to be. It is an Eversharp, and this is from a period in the pens company's history that, you know, the board members would be all there at the Eversharp company, and they're all looking at the guy talking in front of the big chart, and the chart shows the sales plummeting because Laszlo Biro and his horrible invention, the ballpoint pen, was causing the, you know, the prices, the manufacturing prices, to have to drop in order to compete with the new ballpoint, and you know, they used cheaper plastics, they used smaller nibs, they did everything they could to try to compete, and they produced really crappy products. This is one of them. You know, there was a Skyline, and then there was the, you know, Skylines here, and then they made this Symphony pen, which of course I don't have an example of. It looks kind of like this. This is a Symphony pen cap design. It almost looks like this, except it's a little different. And then they made these kind of pens, which are like Symphony pens without the metal cap. Again, let's try to figure out a way to make it cheaper. They changed this to to this, and we're able to sell a cheaper version. And then they, you know, they were inching toward maybe this thing. This is a Ventura, which is the pen that had to be burped. It was yet another gimmick, and that was the stupidest ad campaign. Like a baby, it had to be burped. The burp pen. And stupid pen. Excuse me. But, so somewhere in this downward spiral of this, and this happened with every company. Every company was going through these, you know, how do we compete? And they came up with just crappier pens. This one has a less interesting cap, in my humble opinion. Their nibs were a little smaller. But they came up with this thing, and this has a metal threaded thing. The cap would have been flusher with the barrel. Same thing here, but this is even worse. These are both Eversharp products, and this is called, Eversharp Symphony. This is the Symphony, even with this extra bit there. This doesn't have a name to it. Eversharp Fugly. Eversharp, I don't know what it's trying to be. It's like the Symphony pen and the Fifth Avenue pen had a child with I want to say birth defects, but that's not right. That's not nice of me to say, but it's just, it was not a good union. Eversharp and the Eversharp Symphony and the Fifth Avenue should not have gotten together, because the result was something that looks maybe like this, but who knows. However, let's just forget how fugly it is. And I don't think this is not the right cap. This does not screw down, but it probably had a cap that looked something like that. Who knows? However, even if Eversharp was making crappier designed pens and using crappier plastic, for the most part their nibs were still good. And this one, though not very flexible, still has some flex, and still has iridium, and still is made of gold, and will make someone happy. But not you, because I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it as an example of the evolution of pens, the as they're inching their way toward extinction. You know, these are the the family tree. You know, here ballpoint pens come in and they're now flourishing, and fountain pens are dying out. And this is an example of a sad example of a pen dying out. Now I'm only doing this by observation. I'm not actually looking in any book. I probably have a book that probably tells exactly what this pen is and why they made it and how popular it was, but that requires me to get up off my butt and to do some research, and I'm just not that kind of a guy. So back to my first part of what I was talking about, the idea of hobby, dollar sign, and business. And I'm in the middle here. I mistakenly, people are trying to help me pay my bills, and they're doing it by reminding me that I'm working for way too little. If I had to pay myself a wage, I would not be able to be in business. So I have to start paying myself a wage in order for me to continue to do this. I'm not gonna ask for a lot. Maybe minimum wage. What do you think? Should I pay myself a minimum wage? Or should I continue to offer pens to people that I want to have them be used at a price that I want them to be able to afford? But the thing is, I'm poorer than you are. I can guarantee that. Yes, I've got lots of pens, but chances are you have more money in the bank. And I should have the violins in the background. The little melodramatic music before I'm kicked out on the street and having to sell apples. It's not that bad. And I don't mean to moan. These are just so nice. I mean, if I just decided to not be my best customer, that's what I have to do. Don't be your best customer. Just sell the pens. Don't buy. This is a message to me. This is not a message here. This is a message to you guys. Buy. Note to self. Don't buy. But you guys, these pens are great pens, and this is really a nice nib on this one. Pierre, just say no. Just say no. Just say no. It's really, really smooth. No, I have to sell it. This one, though, is this? I don't even remember this. I went to my collection to try to find a cap for this, and I couldn't. And then I grabbed a few pens out of my collection, like this one and this one. But did this one come out or not? I don't remember. Anyway, a friend of mine told me once, Pierre, you don't have a collection of pens, you just have an amassment. You have 10 collections of pens. You just have to decide which one of those you actually collect. And I haven't been able to do that because I'm a very democratic. I like every well, that isn't true. I don't like every pen that was ever made, but I do like many pens, and for many reasons. This one I like because it's just so darn smooth. Oh well. There you go. I hope I answered someone's questions. No, I didn't answer anyone's. I've just made you think even more about what the heck is up with me. But anyway, ta-da.